Something big might be happening behind the scenes. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice that something isn't normal. Moves are being made discreetly, decisions are being made away from the spotlight, and it seems like the kind of situation that could change everything for this team. And the most intriguing part? This might be a rare opportunity, but when it arises, it could redefine an entire season. But before I tell you the details, click the like button so you don't miss any updates. Let's go. Something unusual is happening behind the scenes in the NFL right now. And if you're a San Francisco 49ers fan, you better pay close attention because this could quietly become one of the biggest moves of the entire season. Let's start with what triggered all this. When Adam Schefter was asked about the situation involving Myles Garrett, his answer wasn't a confirmation, but it was enough to raise suspicions throughout the league. He pointed to something that experienced executives immediately recognize. When teams begin restructuring bonus payments, especially by postponing large sums until the end of the season, it usually signals preparation for a possible trade. And that's exactly what's happening. The Cleveland Browns quietly adjusted Garrett's contract, moving a massive $29 million bonus from the end of March to just before Week 1. On paper, this looks like financial flexibility, but behind the scenes in the NFL, this kind of move does something very specific. It makes a trade much more realistic after June 1st. Now, this is where things get interesting. Publicly, Cleveland is standing firm. They've made it clear. We're not trading Myles Garrett under any circumstances. But let's be honest. No team announces they're going to part with a generational talent. That would destroy any negotiating power. And when it comes to a player of Garrett's caliber, negotiating power is everything. We're not just talking about a great player. We're talking about one of the most dominant defensive forces the league has ever seen. At 30 years old, Garrett is still at the peak of his form. Coming off a season with 23 sacks, 89 pressures, and nearly 40 quarterback hits, he's not declining. He's evolving. Two-time Defensive Player of the Year, five-time first-team All-Pro selection, and already ranking 20th all-time in sacks with 125.5. This is the kind of player who changes championships, not just games. And physically, comparisons are being made to LeBron James in terms of longevity and physique. That's no exaggeration. That's how rare this athlete is. So, the real question isn't, will the Browns trade him? It's, what happens if they even consider it? Because the moment that door opens, even slightly, you can be sure half the league will walk through it. We've already heard that the Philadelphia Eagles, led by Howie Roseman, are closely monitoring the situation. The Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks have been mentioned. Even teams like the Chicago Bears and the Dallas Cowboys are being touted as potential suitors. And then, there are the 49ers. This is where things get serious for San Francisco. Under the leadership of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers have shown a very clear pattern. When it comes to elite pass rushers, they don't hesitate. They've already explored trades for players like Max Crosby and Trey Hendrickson. They value dominance in the trenches and are willing to pay for it. And, right now, everything about their recent moves screams one thing: win now. They've made calculated and aggressive decisions, bringing in experienced veterans on short-term contracts, reinforcing key areas, and keeping the window of opportunity for the championship wide open. This isn't a team thinking about the future. This is a team trying to finish the job. And what could lead them to victory? A game-changing player like Myles Garrett. Think about it. The combination of Garrett and Nick Bosa instantly creates one of the most feared defensive lines in NFL history. It's not just about sacks. It's about forcing opposing offenses to completely change their way of playing. Protection schemes crumble. Quarterbacks panic. games become unbalanced. And here's the part nobody's saying out loud, but everyone in the league understands. If the 49ers don't do anything, one of their rivals might. Imagine Garrett going to Philadelphia, or Seattle, or Los Angeles. That's not just a missed opportunity. It's a direct threat to San Francisco's Super Bowl chances. And the 49ers know it. There's also another layer to this story that adds even more intrigue. Internally, there are rumors that Garrett may not be entirely happy with how things are going in Cleveland, especially regarding the coaching staff's decisions. While nothing has been said publicly, there's a growing belief behind the scenes that if he wanted to leave, it wouldn't surprise anyone. What if that's true? Then everything changes. Because suddenly, it's not just about what the Browns want. It becomes about what Garrett wants. And when a player of that magnitude quietly demonstrates dissatisfaction, the front offices start making calls, including the one in San Francisco. So now we find ourselves in a situation where is it worth investing everything to hire Myles Garrett? Or is the price too high considering the long-term cost this could represent for San Francisco? Leave your opinion in the comments, as this discussion is just beginning. And this is where the story takes a turn that most fans haven't fully grasped yet. Because while everyone is focused on whether the Browns will trade Myles Garrett, the real lever may be moving behind the scenes in a completely different direction. Let's delve deeper. There are strong internal indications that Cleveland isn't just randomly restructuring contracts. They're positioning themselves to have flexibility over the next 2 years, not just this season. And when you connect that to what's happening in the organization, a much bigger picture begins to emerge. The Browns are quietly thinking about the 2027 NFL Draft. Yes, 2027, that may seem far away, but within NFL front offices, it's right around the corner, especially when it comes to elite quarterbacks. And at this moment, there's a growing belief that the 2027 class could be full of elite quarterback talent, including names like Arch Manning. Now think about that for a second. If Cleveland believes quality is the key to finally solving the quarterback position, what's the smartest way to prepare? By accumulating draft picks. And suddenly, the idea of trading a 30-year-old pass rusher, however dominant he may be, starts to make strategic sense. Because if a team offers multiple first-round picks, especially those that can be used to move up in the 2027 draft, that's how you reset an entire franchise. And this is where things start to connect directly with the 49ers. Because if you're John Lynch right now, you're not just evaluating Myles Garrett as a player, you're evaluating the right timing, the roster structure, and the opportunities. The 49ers are in a very specific moment. They've reached several NFC championship games. They've reached 2 Super Bowls under Kyle Shanahan. And yet, they haven't won. That matters. Because in the NFL, there comes a point where coming close isn't enough anymore. And this roster? It was assembled to win immediately. You already have Brock Purdy as the starting quarterback. You're paying key players like Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. You've already made aggressive moves, bringing in veterans, bolstering the roster, and clearly signaling that 2025 is not a year for development. It's a title chase. And that's why this decision becomes so fascinating. Because adding Myles Garrett doesn't just improve the defense, it transforms the entire team's identity. Suddenly, your defensive line isn't just good, it's overwhelming. It becomes the kind of unit that can lead you to victory in the playoffs when opposing offenses can't produce. But here's the price. We're not talking about a simple deal. The expectation in the league is that Cleveland will ask for multiple first-round picks, potentially including future assets geared towards the 2027 window. And that's where things get complicated for San Francisco. Because, by making that move, you're essentially saying, enough waiting, let's go all in, right now. And history shows us exactly where that kind of mentality can lead. Look at what Les Snead did with the Los Angeles Rams, trading first-round picks year after year to bring in established stars like Matthew Stafford and Jalen Ramsey. The result? A Super Bowl. But that also had long-term consequences. So the question is, are the 49ers ready to follow the same plan? Because there are signs pointing in that direction. This team has already tried to build through the draft, developed talent, maintained success, but it still hasn't managed to establish itself. Internally, there's a growing sense that time is becoming a crucial factor. It's not panic, but urgency. And that's reflected in the decisions being made. Even structurally, the roster is set up in a way that allows for a blockbuster signing. There's financial flexibility. There are young players contributing with affordable contracts. The defense, while talented, is still one of the youngest in the league, meaning that adding a veteran superstar like Garrett could accelerate the whole process. But there's another aspect that can't be ignored. Defense isn't just about what you build, but also what you prevent. Because if Myles Garrett goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, or the Seattle Seahawks, or even the Los Angeles Rams, you won't just be facing a great player. You'll be facing a nightmare in games that could define your entire season. And that's why this decision carries so much weight. This isn't just a transaction, it's a crossroads for the 49ers franchise. Do you maintain patience, trust your system, and hope the current roster is enough? Or do you make the decision that could change everything? Because, make no mistake, if San Francisco makes this move, it will become instantaneous. It seems possible. So, now I leave the question to you. If you were in the front office, would you pay the price and bring Myles Garrett to San Francisco? Would you risk the future to secure the present? And, more importantly, do you believe this is the move that will finally take the 49ers to the top? If you've made it this far, leave your comment below. Like and subscribe to stay up to date on everything. Because if there's any news about this story, you already know we'll cover it all.